Former President Bill Clinton tweeted yesterday afternoon about the weapons ban, the assault weapons ban that he signed into law in 1994. He says, 24 years ago, I signed the federal assault weapons ban into law. It, along with other policies, led to a 33-year low in the murder rate. And he says, we've done it before and we should do it again. However, the evidence doesn't necessarily support that. And by necessarily, I mean not at all. In fact, the assault weapons ban didn't do anything to actually affect crime rates. It didn't do anything to decrease crime rates. In fact, one of the last times that I was in New York and I was on ABC with George Stephanopoulos, we actually had this very conversation. And as you remember, Stephanopoulos, he worked for Bill Clinton. He was in the Clinton administration. This was actually one of his particular viewpoints, and that the assault weapons ban didn't do anything to impact crime. I mean, the assault weapons ban was simply criminalizing cosmetic elements that are affixed to perfectly legal firearms, and the amount of them and the type of cosmetic feature that had absolutely no effect on the performance of the completely legal object. That was what was treated as the criminal element, and it had no impact on crime rates, actually. And there's a lot of other things that you could look at where it concerns crime, when you look at the justice system, when you look at the sentences being given, or if you even look at whether or not charges are being fully brought against criminals. Just to touch back to St. Louis, this was a topic that we had discussed this week and last week as well, when you had the circuit attorney in St. Louis who said that she's not even going to consider cases brought forward to her by 28 different officers, some of whom are not even actually with the department anymore, which kind of signals that this is more political than anything else. But and these are going to be felony cases as well, felony charges that are not going to be brought in these particular instances. So in order to look at whether or not there's any sort of weapons ban that had any effect on crime really goes to enforcement, deterrence, and that breaks down at the judicial level, in the justice system level. Now, as I reminded Stephanopoulos, who had said that the assault weapons ban had little to no effect, and he conceded that point again just earlier this year when we spoke on his program on Sunday morning, but it's always proposing the same thing. But yet, how are you supposing that you're going to reduce the rate of prohibited possessors, individuals who are not able to legally bear arms, legally purchase arms, legally do anything with firearms, when there are so few prosecutions of felony gun crimes? We've talked about this just this week as well, or falsifying 4473s. So not only did this assault weapons ban not have any impact whatsoever on the crime rate, but this is in conjunction with a number of other things that need to be looked at before. That's what needs to be looked at. That sort of deterrent is what needs to be remedied and addressed before we start banning just a completely arbitrary number of cosmetic features on a perfectly legal item.